Hello and welcome to another edition of Insane in the Fembrain. Greetings one and all. Welcome. I haven't done one of these in a while. We've just been getting ourselves, we've just been regrouping, getting ready for the next push, getting ourselves organised. And now that we're all getting back out there and things are opening up again, and so here we are. But before we get into it, we need to talk about our sponsors, those wonderful boys Mark and Stacey at Save Our Souls Clothing. Beautiful boys doing beautiful things. I saw Stacey the other day actually on the old WhatsApps there. My God, that boy's funny. He makes me laugh so much. But yeah, those lovely boys are sponsoring us. They're keeping the lights on here. Also, they look after our merch. They sort our merch out for us. And so, if you go to their website, sosclothing.co.uk/membrane, you will get 50% off if you put in the discount code membrane. Not only will you get 15% off of our lovely t-shirts and hoodies, you will also get money off, 50% off the entire range across the board. So go there, get yourself some lovely t-shirts, because the weather's going to get warmer as we go along. So why muck around with other inferior products? Go to Save Ourselves Clothing, get yourself some decent garms and get some money off, courtesy of your old pal Rich Wilson and those wonderful boys at Save Our Souls Clothing. Ethically sourced as well. The garment, I know I say it every time, but they are. It's ethically sourced. The ink is even vegan friendly. You can't go wrong with these boys, and they're great t-shirts, as I know, because I worked there for a bit when we had the old Panny D. Old Wilson was there, and so I know for a fact how these go and how they work. I know exactly what they're about, and that's why I'm happy to call those boys our sponsors. So thank you to those lads. Thank you too for listening in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for continuing to join us, because without you it is just me talking to producer Paul, and as much as we love each other, he'd get a bit bored with that, so thank you. But I hope you're all right. I hope you're well. There's been some ups and downs over the last few months. Of course there have, and it's been a tricky old time, but hopefully we're coming together, and I hope you lot are doing all right. And if you're not, you can always drop me a line. I get people all the time drop me a message, just having a bit of a chat. So do it, have a chat with me. I'm happy to do that. I might not get back to you straight away, but I'll get back to you eventually. All right, so have a chat, don't be afraid, even if it's just to get something off your chest. Sometimes it's best, it works, it's best if you can just stick all your thoughts and feelings in a message, right? And you just send it to someone, and just by that act alone, it gets it out of your body, it gets it out of your head, and it gets it out, and you'll be surprised how good that makes you feel. So just do that, send it to me. I'm happy to, and I'll chat with you. It's going to be great. All right, do that if it makes you feel better. I hope it does. Do it. The door is open. Right. This week's guest on Insane in the Fembrain is my mate. She's absolutely brilliant. It's Fatiha El-Ghorri, and I love her. The first time I met her, I fell in love instantly. Not only is she a damn fine comedian, she's a damn fine human being. And I wanted to have this conversation for a long time, because, and we talk about this in the episode, where the things in the press about a Muslim faith and people that follow that faith is pretty negative quite a lot of the time, and certain things get put into your head. You don't even realise, certain prejudice put into your head, that when you see someone wearing a hijab or a burqa or something like that, certain thoughts pop into your head, and you go, well, where's that coming from? And it's because it's from the bullshit that's pumped into you. So I was to get Fatiha on and have a chat, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant because we're able to talk to each other in maybe a way that we might not been able to, like, when we're out in the real world. This is what this podcast is all about. It's a safe space to be able to do that, and I was able to talk about things that I might not necessarily be able to talk about in other situations. So it was really cool. Fatiha is amazing. And let's just have her on, all right? So have a listen. This is Fatiha El-Ghorri on Insane in the Fembrain.
A podcast from producer Paul.co.uk.
You good though?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm all right. I'm all right. Getting back to like normal gigging is bloody hard, innit? After like 18 months of not doing anything.
Yeah.
Just like, it's exhausting. Like,
it is. You forget. You forget about the travelling, and it's all. Yes. This is the thing. Like, people say it all the time. They go, "Oh yeah, you do 20 minutes." You go, "Yeah, it took me 4 hours to get there," and then 4 hours to go home. You know, and they go, yeah, we just sat on the coach. Yeah, for 4 hours. You know, it's and I'm not complaining, but yeah, when you've gone, like you say, from like nothing to everything, and you feel you got to say yes to everything as well, because you feel like you're gonna get left behind or miss out on stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I get that, mate. Don't worry about that. Yeah, it's funny, like it's like with your hijab.
Yeah.
Because obviously I don't know much about it. There's yeah, like we were gonna like say I'll put your video on, and you're like, oh yeah, I've got to put this on, and it's like I get it, I totally get it. It's like yeah, but that's the thing. Is it because I'm not allowed to be able to see you, or is it anybody shouldn't be able to see you without
it? So basically, how it is that it's anybody that it is. And the people that can see you with it is anyone that's impossible for you to marry. Okay. So like, for example, like your brother, your dad, your uncle, stuff like that. Your cousins, we marry our cousins because that's how we rolled. You know what I mean? We want to...
Well, at least you know what you're getting into, I guess.
It's just to widen the pool, innit? Because the pool's so shit. So it's like, yes, bruv, let's just include everyone. So, more pickings, innit, and stuff. Yeah. So that, and then anyone, so for example, even like your brother-in-law, I would wear it in front of him, because although obviously he's married to my sister, but if he was to divorce my sister, we could marry. Do you know what I mean? So it's in that anyone that it is possible for you to marry shouldn't see your hair. Right, so that's why.
Right.
So yeah, I don't mind wearing a hijab. It's just that it's a bit warm, and I'm being the lazy cow. That's all.
And you're indoors, and you're in your house. No, you're in your house.
Exactly.
It's like you shouldn't. It's like me coming round, like, and you got to get dressed. It's like no, you're fine. You're in your house. Don't worry about that. But I find it fascinating the discussions around the hijab and the burqa and things like that, and people. Yeah. People go, oh, it's oppressive, it's this, it's that. Like you haven't got a choice, like you haven't chosen to follow that path, and that's it's how do you feel about all that? Does it annoy you, or do you go?
Yeah, for sure. Like I don't mind people asking, because I think it's important for you to if you don't know something, I'd rather people come to the source and ask, and rather than look it up online, because sometimes you can go down like that rabbit hole of lies and right-wing stuff and all that, and so I'd rather somebody come and ask me. And I don't mind how many questions people ask and stuff, but people do often think like you always have to explain yourself. Do you know what I mean? So it's always like, why do you wear a hijab? When did you start wearing it? Did your mum say you have to wear it? Did your dad say you have to wear it? It's like, no, it's not. But I don't blame people sometimes for asking, because that's what they see in the media. Do you know what I mean? So I'd rather people come. Sometimes it's a bit annoying, but I'd rather someone ask me. I'd rather hear that annoying question, then at least I can put you right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So yeah. Well,
that's it, innit? I mean, that you're. Yeah, that one person will then have a brand new understanding about what it means to wear a hijab, and then that person will go, and then they'll meet someone that might say something disparaging about that. They might see it in the news or something. They go, "Oh, look at that! They're just being oppressed." And then that person go, "Actually, I met Fatiha, and she told me it's this, and this," and then that spreads. And
absolutely.
I think that's the way. Yeah, I mean that's absolutely the way.
Like you break that cycle of misinformation. Do you know what I mean? And that's what it's about. So it's important for there to be like like an open conversation, an honest conversation where people say what they think. And some people do say things like, oh, I had a friend and, like her family forced her to wear it. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, that does, but that's not for all women. Do you know what I mean? We're not all Muslims are like that. And as you know, like you get bad and good in every community, in every type, in every person. A prick doesn't have, you can't identify them the same way you can't identify like a good person or bad person. They come in every shape, form, everywhere. So just to like, so people just to keep that in mind, but people forget. And people, it's easy, but it's easy. I understand. It's like really easy to be drawn in by what you see on the TV, because it's so subtle. The brainwashing is so subtle. Do you know what I mean? Like the little messages and stuff. It's so subtle. It's easy for you. Next thing you know, you might you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I thought that. What's going on? Like, do you know what I mean? It's so easy. So
but
as long as we talk, that's the main thing.
Yes.
We keep those channels open and we have honest and frank discussions, and people are honest about how they feel without, you know, you don't worry about offending, but as long as obviously you talk to the person politely and respectfully and honestly, then but we got to talk. That's my main thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. That's why I wanted to have you on. I mean, we've known each other a while, but we don't know each other that well. And I you know, but I really wanted to get you on because I felt like, because I have questions and there's things I want to learn. So I'm like, what better way to do that than speak to someone that I know? Who's, you know, it's a nice easy way then, and then, you know, I don't upset anybody by, you know, being on the train going, so what's all that about then? You know, like, and I mean well, I'm being, you know, it's just like, you know, you might get the question right, you might, you know, it comes out a bit clunky and a bit like, no, it's not. I mean, the intent in it's all about the intent, but it is. It's funny that you don't, like you've just said, you don't realise how much the news and the media, the way they put things across, the way they twist things, the way they spin stuff, you don't realise that it does go in your head. It does go in your head. I remember being on a train, I was on the tube, and there's this fella, this is in the height of all the bullshit that was going on. And I remember this fella, and he had his backpack with him, and he was reading, and he had his holy book, and he was reading it, and he's just like, thing. And it was a split second, I was quite stood, and I looked down, and a moment, I went, oh, what's all that about? Like, because of the fucking news. And it was a brief moment, and then the other side of my brain went, right, mate, he's just sitting, he's probably going to work. And I had this back and forth in my head. And then I was like, you see the media do that to you. They make out that all Muslims are just sat around plotting and scheming, and like we've talked about before, like when I was on your podcast, we talked about Arabs and people, like Arabic people, and like the question came up was like, when you were growing up and when you heard the word Arab, what did you think? And because of the films, you go, oh yeah, they were always sneaking about. They were always like, they were assassins, and they were, washing their clothes in rivers, banging rocks on there, you know, all that shit. And that's how the media and films and that got you thinking. And it's not the case, you know. That's
I agree.
And
it's also really hard when you've never even met someone so you don't have anything to compare it to. Do you know what I mean? So like, for example, us, we know each other, so you can always ask me, you see how I act, you see what I do, you know, you get to know me as a person. But there are some people that don't have any interaction with people different to themselves. So all they do have are those messages from the TV. And there's also there's like hysteria as well, mass hysteria. Like, I remember once being on the bus, and it was after bombings that happened in London, right? And I was on the bus, and this guy got on, Muslim guy, and he had a beard, and he was wearing like a throbe, you know, the long, like, it's like a Muslim dress, but for men. And he was wearing it, and he had a bag, and the same sort of thing, he had a bag with him, and he was just standing, you know, near the front of the bus where you put your luggage and that. He was just standing there, and this guy started going, he was like, he's gonna hurt us, and everyone started panicking, including myself.
God,
I was like, is he right? What's going on? Is this a joke? What the hell? Like, do you know what I mean? And stuff. And although I know that's not true, but the hysteria, like, people can egg each other on and stuff like that, and it just causes complete insanity and fear. If you trigger someone's fear, like, that's it, they go mad. But it calmed down in the end. But it really I was like, oh my God, should I get off the bus? This is like, I got proper paranoid. Like,
well, this is it. That's what they do to you. It's so
easy. It's to get caught. And that's guy, like I said, from my community, someone that looks like my dad, do you know what I mean? And stuff. And it was just crazy. Like, so I understand how people that don't have contact with different people, or, you know, for example, in this situation, we're talking about Muslims, I understand how sometimes it can get out of control. The issue for me is like, sometimes you can get physical attacks and verbal attacks, and that's the issue. Do you know what I mean? Like, where people want to like attack you, and which has happened to me a lot and stuff like that. So but although those things happen to me, but it never like blurs, it never affects my views on people. Like, I would never, if I got attacked by, I don't know, a guy, like, for example, now you're wearing a cap as we're talking. If I got attacked by a guy wearing a cap, I wouldn't next time see a guy with a cap and think, oh shit, he's the same as that twat, or never. Like, it doesn't ever affect my view. I think you've done that as an individual. That's what you think. You don't represent the community that you come from. You represent yourself.
Yeah.
And I will not let what you're doing tarnish any feelings I have about your community or people like you, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because then I'm as bad as that person. Do you know what I'm saying?
Got ya.
Like,
yeah.
So I never. Yeah, I just. Yeah, it's it's sad, and you just think bloody hell, but yeah, I just wouldn't. That's not how we're going to move forward, you know.
No, not at all. That's it. I see it all the time. Like Facebook comes up a lot because it seems to be we've all sort of moved on from Facebook. We've got it, but we don't really use it. I don't really use it, but but the people, like, it's all for like family and friends and people like that, or like for old acquaintances. And I see the shit that they post, and they're still like they like the word Muslim is synonymous to them with evil and bad shit. And you go, mate, but a lot of them aren't even willing to like have a conversation like this. They just go, no, that's how it is. You go, like, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were going, we used to be Great Britain, we went around the world conquering everyone, we were feared. And I'm like, listen to yourself. Why is that good? You fucking idiot. What you've done is make sure there's a fucking McDonald's in every country. That's not it's not culture, that's not progress. You're horrible. And they get and they're like, they can't, they're like, we're like this obsession with World War II and all that crap. And you're like, you sound stupid. You sound fucking stupid. If you go out and have a conversation with people that have a different culture to you, different ethnicity, you learn so much, and that your life becomes such a more beautiful place. Yeah, like absolutely. the food, the trying food from other places. That I don't know. It really does my head in. That and it annoys me that it's in me as well. That I have these the thoughts, like when you see. I saw a family. They were on the beach, and the women had burqas on, and they were like frolicking in the water. They were running around in the sea, they were getting wet and all that. And because of where I've been brought up, I'm like, oh, why can't I just take them off? What's going on? And you have that shit going on, and then you're like, well, no, they're happy. So why are you worrying about it? You know.
But we all, to reassure you, like, we all have those biases, like, because unfortunately sometimes, it's not unfortunately, sometimes our experiences, like you said, you've never seen that, that's not your life, and things like that, so you don't understand it, so that's okay, but you're trying, do you know what I mean? It's okay. The most important thing is when you feel that these biases are coming out, even I have them, everybody has them, when they come, is you challenge them, and that's what you do, and that's the most important thing. So do you know what I mean? Like,
absolutely. Yeah, at least you're out. Yeah, I'm thinking it through, and going, no, that's their life. That's what they do. It's different to mine. It's all, as long as they're happy and they're. And
it's not hurting you or anything. And it's not hurting anybody else either. Yeah. That's what I always think. Like, tell myself as well.
Well, there's this weird thing that there's a certain collection of white people that look at people in a burqa and like feel they need to save them, and you're like, what are you doing?
There is that. Yes, there is. I used to do a joke, and people used to come up to me. I used to say, oh, my husband let me out today, and that's why I'm here doing stand up. And then people come up to me often and go, is that true? Like, do you need help? And I'm like, I'm going to count to 3 and you best get the fuck out my face. Otherwise I'm going to show you what's true and what's not. Do you know what I mean? So it's just like, so people like proper believe, everything I say on that wasn't true. That was just playing on the stereotype. But everything that I do say other than that on stage is true. But people just, I don't know, they take it like, even when they find out I've been married and divorced as well, they're always like, oh my God, can I just ask, like, was it an arranged marriage? And I go, no, darling, it was a forced one, just to kind of wind them up. Do you know what I mean? Just to wind them up. So I'm like, you're being ridiculous right now. So but I don't mind. People say mad shit, honestly. I did a gig in Cambridge once, and it was like there were 70 people, and me and the barman were the only ethnic people in there. Yeah. And then like this woman come up to me afterwards, and she was like, oh my God, I love what you're doing. It makes Muslims seem less scary. And I was like, wow. I know. And I was like, come. I was like, what's your name? She's like, no, Linda. I was like, Linda, come with me. I got a little present for you. So I got a little present for you. It's in my bag. Come, and stuff like that. So like as a joke, But she, but I don't like. I get it that like, I can understand sometimes when it comes from English people, right? But what frustrates me is when I get like shit from other ethnic groups. That's what upsets me. Like, you know, because I have had it. I've had trouble from black people. I've had trouble from Asians, as South Asians.
Really?
I've had trouble from East Asians as well. Like, it doesn't, there's, like I said to you, stupid, it doesn't have a face. Like, it affects everyone, every community, do you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't. So in the same way that you can't look at someone and say they're a good person or bad person, it's the same thing. They can be good, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's, you know, I mean, as in, that doesn't make sense. If you look at someone, you can't tell anything about them, you know. So they can be anything. And so I get it. And this is the problem, because those people from those ethnic minorities, or even the people from like marginalized groups, for example, like LGBT, sometimes I can have clashes with people from LGBT.
Really?
Yeah, because they've probably suffered some abuse from someone claiming to be a Muslim and stuff. So, and then they think we're all like that. And then I'm like, how can you think that? You yourself are a minority. You know what I'm saying? Like, why would you, minorities have to stick together. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All of us have to stick together. And I always think of it as well, like when it comes to like human rights and stuff like that, if I want my right to survive as I am and live peacefully, then you have your right to do that too, regardless of anything. If I have my right to wear hijab, then you have your right and be safe, to wear my hijab safely and not be scared and not be attacked. Then you have your right to wear a short skirt or a low cut top and not be howled at and harassed and stuff like that. Do you understand what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like I can't be like, I want my hijab, but I don't agree with you wearing a skirt. I you know what I mean? You can't, a short skirt, you cannot be like that. Like, human rights are for humans, and that's it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly what you're saying. And it's that, there's that misconception that they, just because these people are in these groups, like you say, they just like, they're so understanding and open to everybody else, and it's not the case sometimes. And like, there's that a misconception that, you know, like only white people can be racist, and you go, no, it happens. Racism isn't just, you know what I mean? Racism isn't just white people against everyone else. It's like race against race. If you say something disparaging, and that's and these are conversations that you can't have sometimes. And
I totally agree. And I agree. Do you know the amount of ethnic people, like other ethnic groups, that have called me a P? I'm not going to say it because you might not. Yeah, like loads. Or come up to me like on the bus and say, "Oh, you stink." I'm like, "I'm sorry, who are you talking to?" Like, you lot stink. And this was an ethnic person.
Wow.
Do you know what I'm saying? So this is what I mean. I have to be very vigilant when I'm outside. Very vigilant.
Really?
Because I'm very aware of everything that's going on around me, because I've had people walk past me, look okay, and then spit at me and stuff like that. So I can't. I've had people like on the bus, and then they come down the stairs, they come in, they press the bell, they're waiting to get off, and pull my hijab as they get off, and things like that. So I have to be careful, like where I sit on the bus. I have to be very aware of who's around me. So there's a vibe that you get when someone's dodgy. It doesn't matter what they look like. It's like when someone, you can feel it, and I can see, I'm like, okay, this person is going to want to start some shit. This person, you know, and stuff like that. So it's never like, oh, this guy's a skinhead, he's gonna attack me. It's never like that. Because like you said, racism and hate and all that prejudice and discrimination, it doesn't have a face. You know, so you just have to be super vigilant all the time. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing. There's that. A lot of people say things like, "Oh, well, you're in this country, you should do what we do," and all that shit. And you go, "No, you're from here as well." It's just like, you've got different beliefs. That's it. But we are none of us from here. We're all from everywhere. Like, we're not. They go, "Oh, yeah, pure white." You go, "You're not pure white. There's nothing pure about you. There's been loads of people come to this rainy island. You know, we're all made up. If you had your DNA, you'd be this, that, and the other. You're all sorts.
Yes.
And,
exactly.
And because they just assume that because you wear a hijab and you're a Muslim, that you're from elsewhere, and then you should come over here and all you should eat, only eat jelly deals and fish and chips and Morris dance. That's the only thing you're allowed to do. It's fucking bollocks. Well, I will say though, when I saw you last week at Up the Creek, I was brilliant, by the way. What I will say is, when you said that, because you said it in your set about you got divorced, and I had a moment. I went, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Like that. That was that brief thought. I just assumed like. Once, I don't know why, probably again because of the bullshit in the press and all that sort of thing. But I always thought like once you're married, and it was always very difficult to come out of that. But it's just like any other marriage, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like divorce is not like forbidden or anything in Islam. It's exactly the same. Like you said, when people get married, you want to make it work. Although sometimes you're like, oh shit, this person's the wrong person for me. But people stick it out sometimes, and that can have a lot of. For a lot of reasons. It could be because they've got kids, it could be family pressures, it could be all of that. There's loads of people that are not religious that if somebody in their family tries to divorce, I'm saying like non-Muslims, and their families they're like, no, you can't do it, it's going to bring shame on the family, no one's ever divorced in 25 years, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's got nothing to do with like faith. But I got to say, Rich, like I really respect you and like, salute you for just being so honest about the way that you feel and the way that you view things. And for me, like honestly, I think that's a great thing for you to be honest, because then it allows other people to be honest, and I don't see it as offensive or think, oh my god, look at this guy, or nothing like that. I just think like it's so good, it's refreshing, and you shouldn't be scared. You shouldn't. No. Like, I know you might be a bit worried. I know you the only worry you might have is that you don't want to offend people that you like or care about, or that you're friends and stuff like that. But I think it's a good thing, and I think you should always do it, and I think people should be like you.
No, bless you. Thank you. But go on.
Because you do it, because you're doing two things. Number one, we're talking about, and you're also addressing your biases your bias. I don't even know if that's the right word. I can't.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah, you're biased. You're biased and all that.
Is that bias? That's it. I'm adding an extra S. There's certain words I can't say. Like honestly, I'm adding S's. Like I can't say the word. I can't. Hold on. Sandwich. I'll say sandwich.
Oh dear.
I can't say sandwich.
Some people say sandwich. My aunt used to say sandwich. I'd have a sandwich. She came to my wedding when I got married, and it was like a hog roast thing, but the head of all the animal was there and all that, and she just took one look and she went, I'll have a cheese sandwich, I ain't eating that shit. I went, all right, okay, yeah, so I get it. So but it's true, I want to, because all these like biases and things like that, it's what's put into you. It's like racism. Racism is a learnt thing.
Absolutely.
I remember growing up, my mate, we only had one black kid in our school, Ronnie, and I was mates with him. And then and I had another mate, Arahan Danji, who was from Pakistan. And so I grew up with these people. So I was more aware. I didn't even go like, oh, I've got a black friend. It was like, it's my mate. Yeah. And it's only growing up that other people you start hearing all these other things, and you go, oh, what? Okay. Do you know what I mean? It's like, because, racism's taught. It's a taught thing. You're not born that way. Yeah. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Absolutely. All hate and like discrimination and stuff is taught. Everything. It's a learned like behavior and stuff. And we like, people can, this is the problem. People can, you can like not be that. And you can unteach yourself that. But the problem is some of these communities don't mix with, or they don't know anyone. This is the thing. Do you know what I mean? So for them, that view that they see on the media, or the view that's been handed down from their great family, granddad or whatever, will always be their truth. And this is the problem. It's really hard, It's not like, one time I did this gig in East London. I'm from East London.
Right.
But like, proper, I went in there and there was like St. George's flags everywhere. There was no ethnic people or anything. Yeah, and I was like ringing my mum going, have I ever told you that I love you? She's like, what is this? and all this guy, I was shitting myself. Yeah. And then I went in and I just did I was like, oh man, I'm just so scared. But I did my set. And it went really well. And then afterward, there was an old guy at the bar and he just kept on going, oh, shut up and all this. And I was like, what's your problem?
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck off. I was like, I don't speak English, you prick. So I don't understand what you're saying. So like, and then he come up to me afterwards. He's like, you're not bad for hijab. And I was like, get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes, but then there was like these this Irish family there. And they were like, I don't know if this is the right terminology. Do people still say travellers? I'm not sure.
They do, yeah.
Irish
Say
travellers?
traveller, but you can't say the P word. It was what you call it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a slur, in it. No, I would never. Yeah, no, for sure, that's a slur. But so there were Irish travellers, and the woman was like, oh my God, because I was talking about my family and having like 13 siblings and stuff, and she was like, we have the same, my mum's the same, and I was like, you see how similar we are? Like, you would never talk to someone like me, and you would see someone like me and have a certain thought, but look at our similarities, look at the similarities in our upbringing, do you understand what I mean, and our experiences, and that was really nice. And they were like, oh, come back again, and
amazing.
And I was like, of course, I'll come back. Yeah. And do you see, like, although I was really scared and there was a massive dog walking around there, like a mastiff, it was really big and it was friendly, but like, I was scared because like lots of times racists will set their dogs on you and stuff like that. Yeah, we grew up like that. That's why a lot of Muslims are scared of dogs. And it's not, people think Muslims are scared of dogs also, basically, if lots of Muslims are immigrants, right? Like I know, like for example, me, I'm first generation British, but like lots of Muslims are immigrants in their country that they've come from. We have a different relationship with dogs. Dogs work, so a dog will look out, they will guard your home and things like that. Obviously, they feed the dog is part of the family, but it doesn't come into the house. It stays outside. It's got a job to do. That dog is there to protect you, and it's ferocious. Do you know what I mean? Like it will bark at people and that. So people are scared. So when they come here, they assume it's the same sort of thing, that dog's protection.
Right.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Sense. Yeah.
And another thing is we have rabies. That's another thing as well. So you don't want no dog like licking you or jumping on you or some shit like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now things are changing. Like I'm Moroccan, and like in Morocco, people do have dogs in the same way that Europeans have dogs, like, you know, a little dog jumping around the couch and things like that. So we've got family that have dogs and stuff like that. But this is what people don't understand. They think Muslims just hate dogs. It's not. There is a whole history there behind it that they need to understand. And the amount of time when I was growing up, like the racists used to bring the dog and make it shit on our door. So like we'd be going to school and my mum would open the door and there'd be a lump of shit on our front door. Yeah. And then my mum would be like, let's just go to school. Don't worry. We'll drop you to school and I'll come back. I'll clean it. And then she'll drop us. She'll clean it. And then she'll come to collect us. We come back and it's there again. Like imagine living like that for like 12 years. Do you understand? And it's not like now, you didn't have these support charities that help people that are suffering from like, racism and stuff like that, or the police. They ain't going to do nothing. They ain't going to do shit. It's not like it is now. Do you know what I mean? So that was just a way of life for you back then. Fucking hell. The amount of times we've had people set dogs on us and stuff like that. Trust me, like a lot.
See, you don't think about all that. People don't. It blows my mind that sort of shit happens because we're all, like you said, pretty much like you had a lot in common with the traveller lady you were talking to, but fundamentally, because being lucky enough to have travelled around, fundamentally, pretty much everyone's the same. We've all got the same worries, the same issues, regardless of your religion or your culture or your ethnicity. We've all got the same. I remember being in Marrakesh and walking around there, and just when you get talking to the people, you go, oh yeah, you're just as worried about shit as I am. Like you go home from work, you go home and have your dinner, or you do whatever. You know, it's a little bit different, but it's more or less the same.
Yeah.
You know, and it really opened my eyes. You go, oh yeah, we're all fundamentally the same, really. You know, we're just human beings.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like you said, we have the same worries about money, love. Maybe if we've got kids, we worry about that. We worry about our parents, our siblings. Like we're all the same. Do you know what I mean? It's just like we're, like in the same way that we wear different clothes. And our life is like that. We're just in different packaging, I guess, in terms of our lives and stuff. Yeah. But and it would just be better if people were just,
Yeah,
Like,
it's
better
fear
to
in
each
it.
other.
Yeah, it's fear in it. Like you say,
I
it's
understand.
fear. Yeah,
And also experiences. Like I said, like sometimes maybe someone from LGBT like community, you know, they might not like me because maybe, like I said, maybe a Muslim person, and I put that in air quotes, like someone saying they're Muslim. If they wouldn't do that. You know, like hurting them or something like that. So they're like, oh, yeah, you're all gonna hurt me. You know that saying, once bitten, twice shy. It's like we have a saying in Morocco, we say like, if a snake bites you, and then if you're bitten by a snake, the next time you see a rope, you're gonna fear it because they look the same.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah.
So although that is not gonna hurt you or anything, but you don't know that. They just look the same, and your instant reaction is they're gonna do that.
I've got the same thing when it comes to men with moustaches, because when I was at this, I remember when I was 6, I was like in the Cubs or whatever it was, like Scouts, and we had to help out. There was like this fete, and I was 6 years old, and I had to help out on this stall. And the bloke who ran the stall was fucking horrible. And he had this moustache. And even now, and I didn't like it at all. I was only little as well. I ended up just curling up in a ball and going to sleep underneath this thing. And I remember waking up with him, standing over me going, "Wake up, you little shit. Fucking wake up." And ever since then, I've hated men with moustaches. I got it. It's weird, isn't it? That it's that. And so I get, like you were saying, I get it. But now I've met loads of men with moustaches, and they're like, no, they're all fine.
And you got one as well.
And I've got one as well. So yeah, maybe that's it. I thought, I'd join, make it up, really ease in.
But also, you know, it's okay to, like, you've got that fear, but it doesn't stop you from talking to other people, and it doesn't stop you, like, you wouldn't not work with someone with a moustache, and you wouldn't, like, do you understand what I mean? And this is another difference. It's when people start like, I'm not going to talk to you because you got a moustache. I'm going to hurt you because you got a moustache. Do you understand what I mean? And this is the difference, like, as well, how you, like, that bias or that, that's not a bias because that's an experience that's triggering. So it's like, how do you interact with that? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I do,
how do you know?
Yeah. And what is I don't expect you to know. I don't expect you to know the history of everything, but like, what is the difference between a hijab and a burqa, apart from like how it looks? Are they the same thing, just a different style, or it's a different religion, it's a different culture? I don't know. Yeah,
no, it's good. It's a good question. And no, so the hijab is. Women, if you're Muslim, women should wear the hijab, and the hijab is like the one that I wear, so it covers your face. There's like an oval shape, and it should cover your neck as well.
Right.
So that's the hijab, and every Muslim woman should wear that. But in Islam, it does say there is no compulsion. There should be no compulsion in Islam. So you shouldn't force anybody to do anything that they don't want to.
Right.
So this is what I mean. So you see, when these people force, that's what I'm saying to you. These are not proper Muslims. They're forcing women to do things that they don't want to do. This is what I'm saying to you. It does say that in Islam, right?
Yeah.
So you've got that. So, because and you know, for me, the hijab, I'm going to explain your thing in a minute. Sorry.
No. This is fascinating. Yeah.
So like for me, hijab is a responsibility and it's a choice, and you've got to be ready to make that choice when you wear it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's better for you not to wear it if you're not ready, then wear it and then not be ready and then take it off, because then you start to question your whole faith, your whole reason, everything like that. And because you've done it too soon. So you've got to take it slowly and do it at your pace. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if it's not for you, then you don't wear it. And if Islam's not for you, then you don't do it. Like, that's it. Like,
I think that's it. If you were uncomfortable in it, you wouldn't make it. Yeah, like my hat. If I didn't want to wear this hat, I'd go, well, don't wear it then. Like, it's
exactly.
And I was kind of playing it down a bit, but there's more to it. Obviously, you've got faith behind the hijab and if you don't believe to that extent, then why would you do that? And I think that's that what you've just said there about choice. That is something that people have never spoken about. Not that I've ever heard. It's always, like I said, women are being oppressed. They're being made to wear these things. And that's in our heads. And that's why when I see families frolicking on the beach in Dubai or wherever it was, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, oh, well, they should be allowed to take them off. They're at the beach. What's fuck going on? But it ain't about that. It's more to that. It's the faith behind it, and they obviously truly believe, like you do, which is why you wear yours.
There are like modest swimwear, so it's like a swimming costume, but it's long. It's like trousers and a top, but it is made of swimwear, and it's got a hat. So there is modest. It's called modest swimwear for Muslims and that. But some women, like you said, feel more comfortable wearing clothes. I prefer to wear if I go to the beach. We always go to a beach that's a bit secluded, and then I wear my swimming costume, and I'm like in there like a fish because I'm from I'm from the north of Morocco, so like we live on the coast, so we go like beach every day, bruv, like every day. We're like, honestly, one time I came back so tanned, my mum was like, who is this girl here? This is not Fatiha. I was so tanned, honestly, I looked so different and stuff, but some women will still, they just feel more comfortable wearing, that, like you said.
Yeah.
But so there's a difference. There's a niqab. So a niqab, which is the face veil, where you can see the eyes. So that's a niqab. And then the burqa is the one that they have mainly in Afghanistan, is where there's like a net over the eyes, so you can't even see the eyes.
Yes.
There's a net.
Yeah.
So that's a burqa. But those are not religious. So those are like, they're not like the hijab, whereas if hijab you should wear it if you're a woman, but that is not, that's like optional. People just wear that. Do you know what I mean? Because my mum wears it. My mum wears the niqab, so you can just see her eyes.
Right.
So that's optional. But a lot of these things, like the niqab, the burqa, a lot of these things came from countries that had sandstorms and things like that. There's a lot of history behind that.
Sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And stuff. So it's not like, it's prescribed in Islam, because it's not. Like, women choose to wear that, and they can if they want. It's up to them. But like I said, the hijab is the one that you should wear, but the burqa isn't. It's not. But it's up to you if you want to wear it. But this is what I mean about the history of it. Like, a lot of, even the men used to cover up like that because the sand, there was like lots of sand, sandstorms, wind and stuff like that, protecting themselves from the sun. If they're working out all day, all hours in the sun and things like that. And this is what I mean. People don't realize, they just think, they're wearing that because their man doesn't want them to see their man doesn't want other men to see them. And don't get me wrong, there's a small portion of people that do that. As men that do that are abusers. Yeah. So even if they weren't Muslims, they would find another way to abuse their partner or their woman.
And you get that in all cultures. Yeah.
Absolutely. Like it's not the faith that's bad. It's the people that are in it, that make it like that,
Yeah.
So,
Go on.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
No, just and what this is the thing as well. What I like about, I like that look. I think it looks amazing. That when I see them, like I've seen people in burqas and like in airports or when you're traveling around, it just looks good. There's a mystery to it, and it's like, that looks really cool. And then the guys as well, when you see what they're wearing, is it a dish dash, whatever it is? I can't remember. Is that? I don't know. I think that might be a slang term.
Oh, maybe. I've never heard that. Yeah. Is it a frobe? Is it like the long, it looks like a dress?
Yeah, like a long shirt.
Yeah.
And you look and you go, do you know what? That looks so comfortable, especially when you're, like I say, when you're in the Middle East or wherever you are, you go, yeah, of course you'd wear that. Why am I sitting here in jeans? This is ridiculous. I should be wearing that. But they look brilliant as well. And what I like about you as well is the way you talk. That's something else as well, because there's this assumption again that the women can't say anything unless the men allow them to, and it's all kind of like they kind of like walk around behind all shy and quiet and all this. And then I met you, and you make me sound like Hugh Grant, and I'm like, I'd never like you like on stage, like watching you on stage, and you're effing and jeffing and all that, and I'm like, what is going on? And it was you that blew my mind. Because I'd never experienced someone like you before. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? What is going on? And that's it. I suddenly realised, oh yeah, of course, we're all the same. Regardless. But there's this assumption that you walk around going, oh yes, please, no thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, you fucking what, you fucking prick?
I am like that.
But it's how it should be. It's how it should be.
I am. Even like, yeah, my mum sometimes, she's like, your uncle called and he said this. I'm like, tell him to piss off. And my mum's like, you tell him to piss in the off. And stuff. So yeah, but like obviously, like in my performance, obviously I do. It depends on my audience. So like sometimes I'll get booked for Muslim gigs and stuff like that, or gigs where they say no swearing, no this, no that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's fine. I don't, and then I don't, and that's so I don't. You have to play to your audience, and for me, our audience is our client. So I don't see it as censorship or something. I don't see like you're trying to censor me. How you would be trying to censor me is if you said to me like, you can't talk about, if you were trying to tell me not to talk about something because people don't like it or because it makes them feel uncomfortable, that would then be censoring me, because that's not my problem if you feel uncomfortable about it. Yeah. But if you're saying to me, we've got a gig and there's going to be kids there, don't swear, that's fine. That's not censoring you. That's your job. You know what I mean? Yeah. And stuff like that. So people, that pisses me off about censorship. People get it wrong, I think. But
definitely.
But yeah, no, I do. Like sometimes, yesterday I did a gig and there was a hijabi woman in the audience, and I was like, oh Lord, like, because I was swearing and stuff. But she was fine. I mean, like, I don't have a problem. Like, she can come up to me afterwards and say, oh sister, that was bad or something like that, and then I'll tear her a new one. But so she's more than happy. She's more than welcome. Anyone's more than welcome to try to challenge me in that sense. But they need to get ready to swallow their teeth. But anyway,
do you know what though? Up the creek the other week, there were two women sat at the back and they were wearing hijabs. And
was it when we was on?
I think this was another night. It's like Saturday night. And so I clocked them, and I'm like, oh, okay, because it's unusual. You don't really,
absolutely.
So I kind of went, oh, cool. And then I think I don't know if because Tez was supposed to be on, and then Tez wasn't there, so I was like, maybe they were there to see Tez, and then I remember just being on, and then I was watching the other acts, and they were falling about laughing, like properly, slapping their thighs, having the best time. And again, it like rejumbled all the shit I've been told him, over the years. I'm going, oh, they're having a great time. Yeah, because they're people on a night out. Just because they're dressed like that doesn't mean. And that my brain just goes like, they're fine, they're having a great time. Yeah. It's never like, what the fuck are they doing here? It's always like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's cool to see people dressed like that here. Yeah, I mean, you don't realise how much bullshit you've got in your own head until something like that happens. You go, oh, fucking hell. Yeah.
But I respect you for like I said, again, challenging that and being able to talk about it as well. Like, I respect you massively for that, Thanks,
mate. Yeah.
I was going to say, like, about those women as well, like, it's really difficult because you always feel like these comedy nights are not for you. There's going to be alcohol, there's going to be drunk people, and then they want to like touch you and kiss you and stuff like that. And it's not like, it's just like, just respect people's space. If Corona's taught us anything, it's like, just be mindful. Like, not everybody wants you to touch them. Like how some people like to touch black people's hair. They're like, oh, can I touch it? It's like, no, what the fuck do you think this is? I'm not like a fucking toy in the shop, like you can just fucking feel me up, like feel and then, try before you buy kind of thing. Like, fuck off. So like there's also that kind of people not respecting your personal space and stuff, and so you feel like you're not welcome there. Do you know the amount of times where I have to stand? Before I go, even when we did Up the Creek together, like I have to stand outside for like 10 seconds and like, Fatiha, sorry, I said my name in Arabic. Then in Arabic it's Fatiha.
Okay.
So I was like, Fatiha, you have to. It's okay. You're going in. You've got a job to do. There are going to be people that are going to stare at you, but it's okay. And if anybody starts shit with you, you show them what you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And then I go in. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So there's always a little pep talk because people stare at you. They don't know
what
is she doing here? What is she like? Do you know what I mean? And stuff.
I do. Yeah.
and stuff like that, and it's horrible. Can you imagine like walking into somewhere and everyone looking at you like if I took you to the mosque, people would probably all look at you like that because they're interested. They'll be like, oh, is he going to be a Muslim? What is he doing here? Is he wants to learn more about the faith? Is he a Muslim? Are they married? Like that kind of thing. Whereas, so you would feel uncomfortable. All eyes would be on you. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's the same. It's the same sort of thing. So for me, you know, like being a comedian and being up on stage, it's not only doing what I like, it's not only doing the things that I love and the thing that I love, but it's also representing. If I'm on stage, those people are going to come. Do you know what I mean? I remember once I was at Top Secret and I swear to God, like 15 hijabis turned up and I nearly fainted. Like, do you know what I mean? But I was like, what? They've all come here to see me. Do you know what I'm saying? Because I'm on the list, because someone they can relate to is on the list. They can relate to you too, like you said, because they can relate to you in terms of experience. Because like you said, them girls that was at up the creek, they were laughing and like slapping their thighs and crying and all that with laughter. So they can relate to you in experience, but they can't relate to you physically. And if I can't see somebody that looks like me around, then it's uncomfortable. So representation is important. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
But I always make a joke, like yesterday that hijabi was there, and I said, look, they invite one fucking hijabi and then the whole army fucking turns up. And even
that's
she
true,
was
though, isn't it?
And
Only because, like you've just explained, the reason is because they go, oh yeah, we can go in that place.
Yes,
so then they all go, and that's it. So there's an element of like, you're right, which is sad. But I tell you what, it was funny when I looked at them, at that couple, the two women, and I saw they were laughing at what I was saying, and I was like, fucking get in, because there is that. You go, like you just said, they might not get what I'm saying, or we come from different places, different backgrounds. But they were laughing their heads off, and I'm like, fucking yes, mate, I'm having a bit of that. That's right.
Yes.
And has it been problematic for you getting into comedy? And again, this comes from some bullshit that's probably been said somewhere that I've heard or whatever. Like women not being allowed to do certain things, like do comedy or perform or do something. Like, was that been a problem?
No. Do you mean as in like personal relationships and like maybe when I was married, them saying no, or is that what you mean? Do you mean like family relationships and stuff?
Yeah. Or what I mean, like you being a comedian, was that problematic to anybody? Did they go, you shouldn't be doing that? No.
More problematic to the circuit than my family or anyone that I know. Do you know what I mean? It was not, because like for example, when I do the Muslim gigs and I talk about divorce, and then a lot of women come up to me afterwards, because another thing people don't realize about Islam. So Islam is the religion, okay?
Right.
Then you have the community. So you have the Pakistani Muslims, and you have the Black Muslims, and then you have the Malaysian Muslims, and they come with their culture and traditions, but that's not Islam. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, got
So
ya.
this is what people don't understand. So like, these men that are like, you can't go out, you can't do this. Some of that is I want to upset all of that is cultural and tradition, as opposed to the faith. And this is what people dilute the two. Not just people that are not Muslim, even within the Muslim community, people dilute, and then everything, that's haram. That haram means forbidden. That's haram. That's forbidden. That's forbidden. And you're like, no. Hold on a minute. Have you even read the Quran or read anything about your faith? Like, what the hell are you talking about? So it gets diluted a lot.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any issues with my family or anything like that. And like I said, I did this gig my first like Muslim gig, and this woman come up to me, she said to me, I'm divorced, and she was from South Asian community, and she said to me, I'm divorced, I've got 2 kids, and she said to me like, it's so refreshing to hear you on stage talking about it, and it gives me hope. She's like, because my family is not very happy that I'm divorced, and I want to find love again, but it's really difficult as a divorced woman and stuff like that, because some Muslim men won't marry divorced women, but our faith doesn't say that. Like our prophet said, just marry women, whether they're divorced, whether they're older than you. And even he himself in his life had married a woman that was divorced, married a woman that was older than him and making a lot more money than him. She was a businesswoman. Yeah, and all these like examples, but they were like, no, I want a virgin. I'm like, you need a fucking checkup from the neck up is what you need, mate. Do you know what I mean? Like, So they just like dilute everything and use culture and then things like I don't want to marry a divorced woman. Okay, you don't want to. Your faith doesn't tell you that though, but they dilute it all. Do you know, because they have to justify their crapness. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's the problem with all religions across the board.
Yes,
it's not the religion itself. Because all religions, when you read it, when you look into it, it's just all about being kind to your fellow man and doing what's, just be a good person. Don't be a prick.
Yes.
And yet, like you say, probably men, a lot of the time, like you say, they manipulate it for their own gains. So they'll, to get money out of people, to get power, over people. And that's always the issue. Every time I've had conversations about people about religion, it's been the fucking dickheads ruining it for everybody.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think, sorry, I digressed a little bit. Going back to your question, I didn't really have issues with like my community or other Muslims or my family and stuff like that. But I did have issues on the circuit and stuff.
Really?
So like you try to get booked somewhere and then they're like I tried to get booked in this club which is right near my house, and I was like, how do I get on here? And then he was like, can you email me? And I said, okay, what's your email? So I started writing it down, and he turned around and he goes, firstly, I went in there, I said, how can I book to perform here? He goes to me, are you a comedian? And I felt like saying to him, no, I'm the whore from next door. Of course I'm a fucking comedian. Like, you think I just bowl into places and go, excuse me, can I perform here? Like, dickhead, do you know what I mean? And then, like, twat. And then he goes, all right, send me your video and then I'll get back to you. And I was like, okay, what's your email? So he started giving it to me. I started writing it down. And then in the middle of it, he goes, no, forget it. He goes, people pay to come here and I can't afford to have you getting booed. You know? What? And I was like, yeah. And I'm not like, I will never perform for that person or for that venue ever. No. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, rightly so.
You so there's always these, or like sometimes like one time I went to I did this event and they were like, can you not do jokes about bombs, please? And I was like, the first thing I did, I went up there, I was like, boom, like, do you know what I mean? I was like, how fucking dare you? So sometimes you've got like these non-Muslims they're like, Muslims don't really want to hear things about terrorists. And I was like, excuse me, do you not see my fucking hijab? Like, what the fuck? Like, I am a Muslim. What the fuck are you trying to tell me about my people and my faith and what they want to hear? And that's censorship. Don't do this, don't do that. I was like, no, I was like, they say that, I say, okay. And I just go on stage and do whatever I want. And I'm like, it's too late. They can't do shit.
It's true. When you get to a gig and I remember doing it a couple of times, people have gone, can you not say that word or that word? And the first thing the fucking comedian says, all right, you cunts, fucking blah, and you're like, all right, and the crowd falls about, they fall out laughing. You go, why is the promoter being a knobhead rather than the audience? The audience, if you're the audience, will pretty much go with anything. It's you being an arsehole, getting in the way. Jeez. But like you say, it needs more people like you representing, and then that makes people from that same culture, that same background go, like we just said, we can go to that place as well.
Yes.
And that's why they should be able to do that.
Absolutely. And like when I do gigs, and then sometimes in the Muslim circuit, after the gigs and stuff like that, and in the mainstream as well, I get lots of messages from hijabi women going, I've always wanted to do that, how can I do it? And I'm like, this is what you got to do a course, do this, do that, go out more, get to know the comedians, come to my gigs, I'll introduce you, I'll help you, meet new people, we'll network, do you know what I mean? And why not help? I always believe in like sending the ladder down, do you know what I mean? And these women have always wanted to do that and they've never been able to do it. Sorry, it's not the ladder, is it? It's the elevator. It's not sending the ladder. If you send the ladder back down. Come out.
Old-fashioned, send the ladder back down. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
You can tell my age, innit? We only had ladders back then.
But you can't. Well, there is that. Yeah, people do pull the ladder up. Like, I think
that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
But just send the ladder back down, mate.
Don't do that. Help people if people want to get into it. They're not confident. They're not sure how, or they are confident, but they're not sure how to go about it. They don't know anybody else that looks like them that does it. So they reach out, and I'm like, yes, bruv, let's go. I'm going to tell you. Yeah. And I help them. Do you know? And if I can go to their gigs, I'll go, like, just to support them and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So, like.
But that just goes to show where you're at, what kind of a person you are. Because lots of people won't help other people because they're like, oh, this will take away something from me. This will mean this will take something away from my success. And you're like, no, it won't. Yeah. If anything, it'll help you because people go, oh, they're decent. What a decent person. Let's work with them because they're decent people. Rather than, you're trying to keep it all for yourself, like you're holding all the pies. Oh, these are all mine. You're like, no, man, give a few out. Give a few out. You know, it just makes the world a better place. And then it makes me feel better when I see and hear people doing decent things. It makes you realise, because I get caught up in it. You see, I try not to look at the news anymore because it's all bullshit. It's just so negative, and I'm like, no, that's just the news. There's good things going on in the world, you know. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree with you. It's hard, like, I do agree with you. It's hard, and we do forget there's so much misery and pain and suffering, and we do forget the good things sometimes. Yeah. So it's important to keep them in your mind too, for sure.
But this is it. And this is why having these conversations with people like yourself, like you and me, having a chat, it's fucking brilliant. I love it. That's why I love doing this podcast, because I get to meet all manner of different people from different places. I will say this though, when I was in Marrakesh, right, I'm walking around and I loved it. There was a moment we were sat on this balcony overlooking like the square, and it was like proper, like being in a film, like the sun was just going down and there's all the music going on and all the voices and this, that and the other. It was really like proper Hollywood style, like movie thing. I remember an ice cream. It was really nice. And then I went walking out and they kept, oi, Slim Shady, come to my restaurant. Like, you, fuck off, you. It's really making me laugh. Hey, Slim Shady, come in here. You fucking tossing.
Do you know what? I have like the same, I have similar issues because I'm fair. A lot of them think that I am, I'm a convert to Islam. So they think like, and if they see me like out with my cousins or something like that, they think like I'm married to one of them, or like, and I'm a convert. I've converted to Islam to just so they come and they start talking. Like, I remember once me and my cousin went to, it was me, my girl cousin and boy cousin, and we went to a stall. We were looking in at the stall, and the woman was like talking French, Spanish, Italian, all these languages. This is the woman working in the stall, and she was saying, welcome, come, have a look. And I was just looking at her, and because I didn't respond to any of the languages, she just kept on speaking all these other languages. And then when she finished, and I said to her in Arabic, I said, I'm Moroccan. And she was like, oh, okay, welcome. And she started talking to me in Arabic, and I was like, honestly, and they all run up, in Marrakesh, in the square, they do like the henna and stuff, and they run up and they're like, Madam, henna, good price, and all this. And I'm like, I'm one of you. And then she goes, oh, okay. And they walk off. Because they know they're not going to get £20 out of me for a hand of henna. Do you know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So so they're always, honestly, that happen even in restaurants. Like, we'll walk into a restaurant and then my cousin's like, the hostess will come and they'll go, where do you want to sit? And then my cousin will look at me and go, where do you want to sit? And then in English I'll be like, I don't know, it's up to you. And then the hostess will be like, does she not speak English? And then I'll push my cousin out of the way. I'm like, the hostess is like, does she not speak Arabic? And then I push my cousin out of the way. I'm like, yes, I fucking do. What? What's your problem? Now what? What? You want to go? And all that. So I know what you mean. It's annoying. Like, I don't like that part of my culture. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, I don't like, sometimes they hassle the tourists too much and I don't like it. And sometimes if I see it, I say, listen, you're embarrassing us. Like, these people will never come back. They've come here to relax. These tourists will make their choices of where they want to go. They know they do want to try stuff. They are open to being here and to try everything new. So just don't put pressure on them. Let them walk past. Let them do what they're doing. If they come, you show them our hospitality through the way you treat them when they come to your establishment. Don't fucking start hassling them like that. I don't like it. No. Like the juice men in Marrakesh. Come. And again, with them, I go, we're Moroccan. They're like, no problem. Come. I'm like, no, bro, I'm not paying £10 for, half a litre of orange juice. Piss off. So yeah, you do sometimes.
Well, I was saying that to someone else. They were going, they just hassle you, just hassle you. I'm like, just ignore them. Just ignore them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, when you first go to these places, then you engage with everyone because you don't know any better. But after a while, you're just like, eyes front. Don't worry about it. They're gonna say stuff. Ignore it. You get it over here as well in markets. You get it everywhere. You get it in Vegas. We're walking down the strip in Vegas and just getting hassled by thousands of men trying to give you cards for sex workers. You just
my God.
Yeah. And I was with my partner at the time, and I went, right, count to a minute, and then see how many cards I collect in that minute, right? And I collected a stack. Like, I must have had a couple of hundred of these cards, and that was in a minute. So it's not just there; it's everywhere where there's tourists in any country. Everywhere you're going to get some kind of hassle because people are just trying to make money, aren't they? But you just got to rise above it and just accept it. I mean, you just got to chill out. Don't follow anyone back to their house. I did that. I got out of this taxi. We were in Tunisia, and this guy went, you're from the hotel, blah, blah, blah. I'm a worker there. I work there. He goes, yeah, come with me. And I went, oh, yeah, go on. And we followed him, and he just took us to his brother's shop. And then we ended up in his brother's shop. We go, all right, fine. So I got to buy 2 leather camels and something else. And then, and the mates I'm with, they go, yeah, we knew that was going to happen. I'm like, well, why did you let me go then? They went, because you got to learn. And what it was, because the geezer knew where we were from because of the bands we had on our hands. Like because we were at the hotel, so you got these bands. Geezer goes, you're from hotel, blah, blah, blah. I work there. Come in and buy 400 leather camels. Fucking hell. I don't know. Fatiha, this has been amazing, mate.
Listen, thank you for having me. I've loved it, and I really like talking to you, and I feel like you're a friend, you know what I mean? We're on the same level, same time, and I really do respect the fact that you can be really open about how you feel and what you think. And, and I know that might be uncomfortable for you sometimes but I think it's a good thing. Always be honest, always speak. If you have something you're not sure about, always ask.
Yes.
I respect you for that. And
thanks, man.
We're better friends, better friends for that,
Always. I love seeing you, and hopefully I'll see you soon properly again.
Yeah, for sure.
Where can we find you online?
So I'm on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and it's just Fatiha El-Ghorri. And and then I post all my stuff on there, like for events and stuff like that I'm performing at. So you can see me, get all the details from there, and DM me if you want to get, if you're a hijabi and you want to get into comedy, or if you're not a hijabi and you want to get into comedy, you can still DM me. They're open. I'm open to everyone. So amazing. So, and thank you for having me. And
it's my pleasure. Thank you for allowing me to talk to you so openly and honestly about stuff. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
My pleasure, mate.
Thank you, mate.
My pleasure.